Hey, welcome to Sipper Social Club. I'm Jeremy. Today I had the brand new 2019 Lot 40 Cask Strength. This third edition is finished in Spanish oak barrels. I'll let you know how that's going to change the profile when I nose it, taste it, and give it a mark. Alright, this year's release coming in at exactly 57% ABV, 5,460 bottles, so that is 1.4 ABV less than last year, but 1,440 more bottles. They dropped the age statement this year. Last year was an 11-year-old. The previous was a 12. NAS this year, they did finish this in Spanish oak barrels, so that's the main difference. In my experience, this thing takes water really well. Actually, I'd say that it needs water. If you know my reviews, I automatically add water. I don't find any point in nosing, tasting without when I know that water improves it. So I'm going to add some, and let's see how this is on the nose. The first thing you're hit with is that Spanish oak. I get a lot of red wine, like a dry red wine on this. Moving past that, you get some more kind of stereotypical notes you'd be familiar with this. I love that like banana note that I get in these releases. You get a little bit of that here. Vanilla, definitely like that rich, creamy vanilla comes through. That's really good. Then maybe a little bit of like spice, herbal kind of aspect to it. Kind of hard to pinpoint exactly what I'm getting, but those kind of elements. But yeah, this is a nice nose for sure on this. Let's go palate. Lots of dry oak aspect to this on the palate for sure. It's the main thing I get. And then you get like a fruit element. So that's maybe like that Spanish oak. That's mainly the difference. That's that fruit element's coming through. Not really sure exactly what I'm getting for fruit-wise. It's like kind of it's like a red, generalized red kind of fruit. That's pretty decent. Some spiciness, some vanilla again. A little bit of that ginger cookie. That's a little bit of that aspect that you're familiar with from previous releases. That like baked goods, ginger kind of cookie aspect to it. That's nice. Finish, I'd say it's like medium in length. You do get a little bit of some youthful sharpness on the finish though. That alcohol note kind of comes through a little bit there. And that more drying oak. Decent amount of oak on the finish, I'd say, on this one. Non-age statement this year, you'd have to assume it's probably 10 years or younger. I think if they were bottling at 10 years old, they'd probably put a 10-year-old age statement on there, but I would have to say this is probably younger than that. You can definitely taste that sharpness to it, that youthfulness. Differences between last year, you're not getting as much as that creamy style rye spice. I don't really get even that much rye aspect to this. It seems like it's being masked a little bit. It's kind of off in my opinion. Those elements, those like sweet icing sugar notes that I got on previous releases, I'm not picking up that as much in here. The baked goods, you get a little bit of that ginger cookie, but I think previously it was kind of a little more turned up. Seems a little muted here. And the dill note. The dill note that I got on previous releases is not here at all. So this has none of that dill aspect to it, that dill pickle kind of note that sometimes you get in rye whiskeys. Not getting it in this one. I tried this first at Spirit of Toronto. Don Livermore was there. He did a masterclass. After his masterclass, he came up to the floor, was giving some samples of this with the rest of the Northern Border collection. I tried it there and really enjoyed it. Really, really liked it. This is not the same whiskey. What he had there, in my opinion, or most likely, was a sample of a cask that they had pulled before they bottled everything, blended everything, bottled it. But whatever cask he had there was really, really good. More complexity than this. Wasn't as oaky. More of that rye aspect, perhaps. So this is a different whiskey. Slightly disappointed in my opinion, I'd say. I do like some of the aspects of this for sure, but I think that in previous releases you're getting more complexity, more creaminess, maybe a little more viscosity. I think that maybe just speaks to the age of it. The wine cask influence is a kind of different element to it. The sample I had at Spirit Toronto was great. I thought it worked really, really well. Here, maybe, it's not the same, although it is kind of interesting. Score-wise for me, I'm going to give this 85 out of 100. There's some elements in here that I really like. It's just when you compare it to the previous releases, it doesn't quite add up, in my opinion. If you want to check out my previous reviews, I did the 2017, 2018, and the regular release here. I think I scored the 2018 87.5, and then previously the 12-year-old I scored 90. Really like that one. It's worthwhile picking up, just to kind of try and see how that Spanish oak influences 100% rye whiskey. I don't think you get that very much with rye. So it's interesting in that respect. Just not up to par on those previous releases, in my opinion. Most likely it has to do with the age. I think it's just a little young. Those aspects that come out in the older ones, the creaminess, the viscosity, the complexity, is just a little bit more. Value, not going to add value for this. This was a gift from Scott. Scott, the brand manager at Corby, he was gracious enough to supply this bottle for myself and Rob Whiskey in the Sixth to review. So Scott, thank you very much. He was also nice enough to supply some other bottles from the Northern Border collection this year. The 19-year-old Gooderham and Warts. This is a 4-grain red winter wheat blend. Excited to try this, just doing my notes on this one. And the Pike Creek 21-year-old. This is a Oloroso sherry finish. So exciting stuff coming out. Doing my notes on these. Stay tuned. Those videos will be coming out next week. As always, guys, have a good one. Take it easy. Cheers.